Welcome back to the One Another podcast. I'm your host, Josh Squires, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Josh Fleming. Josh, thanks for being back in studio with me.
Absolutely, Josh. It is great to be here.
Yeah.
Like you said, in studio. We've been doing a lot of that remote, online stuff.
Interview stuff.
Yeah, it's been a little tricky.
It has been. We got one more coming.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, all summer long, we've been having these special guests come in. Mm-hmm. It's been great. All of our guests, all of our speakers have been special to us. We have great conversations.
Yep. But today,
I'm really excited for today.
Today,
a very special guest.
One of my best friends, mentor, spiritual father, and former senior minister here at First Pres, Dr. Derek Thomas.
That's a lot, Josh. So you're Josh the Less.
I'm Josh the Lesser.
And you're Josh the Greater.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Only by...
Depends on which standard we're keeping here.
Only by how much...
Well, first of all, I need to apologize because I didn't get the memo about the dress code. I thought this was only an audio. So I didn't put on my blazer like you two. You're looking very dapper.
Well, sometimes we do jammies.
And
we do jammies.
I'm retired.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, you are.
These are my retirement clothes.
Yeah. So which leads to our very first question. How's retirement treating you? Obviously jammies, which is nice.
It's comfortable.
It's good. It really was difficult for about 9 months. I was ready for some of it, and I wasn't ready for other parts of it. I mean, you can say that you're ready, but you're not ready. And I've talked to a number of folk who've recently retired, and many of them had the same experience. So first of all, you need a plan.
Yeah.
And I had more or less of a plan for sure. So mine wasn't as bad as some. But I've spoken to a couple of guys who had no plan at all.
Yeah.
And it just did not go well for them.
Yeah.
And I think they kind of slipped into a kind of depression.
Yeah.
What I wasn't expecting was the complete sort of silence. One day you're in the center of everything, you know what's going on, you're getting 20 texts about something, and then the next day, crickets. And so, I mean, the only thing I know is what I read in Daily Report, which is as it should be. It's not a complaint, but that took a while.
Yeah.
And I would sit at home wondering, well, I wonder what Josh is doing now. And they're in the
Josh the Greater.
They're in the staff meeting now. Oh yeah. And then he's probably prepping for some Sunday school class. But I've been busy. I mean, I knew about a month before I retired, I got this invitation from a dear friend in Yazoo City, Mississippi. Neil Stewart, of course, was in Yazoo City, but a different church.
Yep.
And a former CFO of RTS. I was on staff in 96. He got on staff in 95. And he's an elder in this church, First Pres, Yazoo City. And Yazoo City is in the Delta. It's an old cotton town, and therefore dying because cotton is no longer a thing. And they tried catfish for a while, and that didn't work. Tried soybeans, and that didn't work. So it's a kind of dying town, sadly, and has the look and feel of a town that really needs reviving in some way. So it's a church of about 50 people. Okay. I'm probably the youngest. There's one young family for sure, but I've been enjoying it. Going not every week, but 2, sometimes 3 Sundays a month, and that's all coming to an end. At the end of August, they've called a friend of yours and a former student of mine, which will be perfect for them. And it's too soon yet to tell you what I'm going to be doing, but I have been approached about possibly filling another pulpit for a season, which will also involve flying. So that more or less takes care of the weekend. And Rosemary, Rosemary, I mean, a preacher's wife, she's sat by herself in church for 50 years.
Right.
Because I was in the pulpit. She raised our children, she clobbered them on the head when they just misbehaved. I would glare at her.
Yeah.
Quiet them down.
So that's not any different for her. But and then I've been trying to do some writing. As you know, I had a lot of books and 8,500 of them, and they were here on this very floor, occupying 4 rooms. And the Mayburys, sweet couple, joined just before I left. She is a former librarian, and she came to me, and I spoke to one of our interns who started a study center on Pendleton Street.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I said to him one day, "What are you going to do about books?"
Yeah.
And he had no plan. And I said, "Oh, I've got the plan."
Yeah.
I said, "I'll give you all my books on condition, A, that you take all of them and not leave me with 2,000 books and nobody wants. And B, that I can come and work there anytime I want."
Yeah.
Which has been great. It's a wonderful answer to prayer.
That's amazing.
I haven't been as diligent in the last few weeks, but I plan in the fall to go back to a sort of weekly cycle. I just finished a book on the life of John.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you had the life of Peter.
Yeah, following up the Life of Peter book.
Yeah.
It seemed to make sense, and I think it might have been Sinclair Ferguson who said, "Oh, you need to do the life of John as a kind of sequel."
There you go.
Yeah.
And it kind of made sense. I was a little nervous because a lot of the stories in the Bible, both of them are in the same story.
A lot of overlap
yeah.
in their story, right?
And so what I did was I did not read the life of Peter while I was writing the life of John, so that I wasn't just rehashing so I may be telling the same story, but I'm telling it differently.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I may have picked up different emphases,
Yeah.
putting a stress on a different syllable.
There you go.
There.
Yep.
And I finished that last week, and
Praise the Lord.
I have a couple of editors looking at it, and hope to send it off within a week or two.
Wow.
That's incredible.
And you're still obviously doing stuff with Ligonier, but also still teaching.
Yeah, I'm actually doing more for Ligonier because they asked me, "Are you free to do this?"
Yeah. Let me look at the calendar.
Well, to be honest, yes, I'm free.
If it's during the week, I'm free.
Yeah.
So that's been good, and I've been traveling for them. They do regional conferences. So there's one in California. There's one in Asheville in a couple of weeks. There was one in Texas a few weeks ago. And then I'm going down in September to record the life of John for DVD.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that you have the book
There's
and
a
the
video
DVDs.
series that
Video,
goes with it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm old school. I still say DVDs.
I wasn't even. I was tempted.
You could have said VHS. That would have been worse.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Cassettes.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
So and they're kind of intensive. So you do.
Oh, right.
You do. I think I have 17 chapters. So
Wow.
I have to record 17 20-minute cassettes.
Yeah.
And that's like a whole
Cassettes.
new
I
thing
love
to
it.
prep,
In
right?
3 days.
Because you have to, it's very different from the written form. You're like
Yes.
delivering as an address.
There's a
now.
studio a bit like this one, and then there's an audience
Like us.
of about 20 people, and they're the same people. I mean,
Every time
they're the same people, and the Safnauers from here have been to many of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And in between each take, they move seats. So if you're here in the
Take
first
one,
one,
yeah.
you're over there, and the second one, you're over there, and the third one. So you can play this little game.
A little Easter egg.
If it's not all that interesting, you just look. You say, where are the Safnauers?
That's good.
That's phenomenal.
Well, Dear, I wonder, most of our folks who are tuning in for this podcast are going to be very familiar with your story, your ministry. But for the few who are maybe joined the church since you left and retired. Could you just give us a real quick, story of Derek Thomas? How you came to know the Lord, how you sensed a call to ministry, eventually how you end up here in Columbia. I mean, I know that's a quick story.
That's a quick story.
But just let people know a little bit more about you.
Yeah, I'm 72. I'm 6'1", I think.
Yeah.
Blue eyes.
That's the
It's
biological
biological
information we've
yeah.
asked for. Yes.
Grew up in Wales, in the UK, on a farm, dairy farm initially, and then sheep farm, and went to school.
So you've been a shepherd all your life, really?
One sort or
Nice.
another, and I still have an affinity for animals. I think I love being around animals. I grew up in a very nominal, secular home. Social historians will say that the generation that came back from the Second World War, namely my parents, could identify with the church, but they just never went.
Yeah.
So my mother identified with being Church of England or Church of Wales, Anglican.
Yeah.
And my father was a Congregationalist, but I have no memory of them ever attending church. So I never went to church. So the second generation after the Second World War just didn't identify with any church.
Yeah.
Which was me.
Yeah.
I was a math physics major at college, and I thought that science had all the answers in my arrogance, but it didn't have. I was very unhappy for a whole variety of reasons, and science just couldn't answer why am I so unhappy.
I've often heard like people say science can describe what something is, and math and those, but not why it is the way it is.
Yeah.
And that's where we need a bigger explanation of things.
Right. So my best friend in high school, we were both avid lovers of classical music. I mean, just completely over the top. And that's a whole story in itself. And he was also a math physics major, but at a different college. And he sent me in the mail, halfway through the first semester, John Stott's Basic Christianity, which was then about 10 years old, maybe 12 years old. And I read it during the Christmas break and was converted. I mean, I went from being an agnostic, didn't really think about questions as to why things were the way they were, to falling on my knees, asking the Lord to save me. December the 28th, 1971, about 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And I remember tuning in. I was a kind of shortwave radio kind of nerd. And I had a shortwave radio at home in my parents' house. And I remember tuning in to a station coming out of Switzerland where Billy Graham was preaching.
Oh. Wow.
I don't know how I knew this. Maybe somebody had told me this. Went back to college. In Britain, you can drink when you're 18. So the center of any university or college is the student union bar, and everything kind of revolves around that.
Yeah.
So I knew where that was. But there was a plaque. I remember there was a plaque on the wall as you walked in to the Student Union building, and it said, InterVarsity Fellowship, Christian Union, upstairs, Saturday night, whatever, 7 o'clock, 7:15, 7:30. So I went up. And I saw Rosemary, my wife,
Wow.
because she was in my class. I saw probably 5 or 6 people that I knew from my math, physics classes.
Wow.
And my very first lecture back in January, in the January term, 2 of the 8 professors in the math department were believers, including the head of the math department.
Wow.
But and they wore robes while they were academic robes while they were lecturing, and so he comes in like Batman, swish, walked to the front, and he said, "Thomas, you've got something to tell the class."
Wow.
And I thought, "No, I haven't." And he said, "Come up here," and I told him that I'd been saved, and
Wow.
he never made any comment about it because it's a secular university.
Yeah.
And then immediately started, doing calculus or whatever it was on the board.
Wow.
And then afterwards, he said to me, "I just wanted you to nail your colors to the mast from day one." And I've always been thankful to him for that. Graduated in '74. Did a kind of internship at a Baptist church Reformed Baptist Church in Oxford for a year. Married Rosemary in '76, and 2 weeks later we were at RTS Jackson.
Wow.
And the only thing I knew about the South was I'd read Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn in school, and it hadn't
Jackson was
changed
just
a
like
whole
that.
No, it really
And
hadn't
changed
changed.
all
Jackson
that.
is just like.
So
You were like,
I-
I'm actually well prepared for this.
I graduated in '78. I'd already done a year and a half study in Britain, which I was credited with a lot of stuff. And so I did my RTS course in 2 years. And but in my final semester, I needed to sort out the baptism thing.
Yeah.
So I took a directed study with one of the Old Testament professors, Dan Morse. And he made me write a 25-page paper on why I am a Reformed Baptist, which I did.
Yeah.
I read everything I could find on baptism, wrote my paper, defended my case to him, and I got an A. And a week later, I came back to his office, and that was my best shot, and I'm not convinced about it at all. And I said, I think I'm caving in. And then I had to inform my Baptist friends. So when I graduated and went back to Britain, the Baptists for some reason didn't want me anymore.
Yeah.
And the Presbyterians didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
So I taught high school math, which was horrible. It was just, I was a terrible math teacher because math was intuitive to me.
Yeah.
Right.
And when people didn't get it,
It just didn't.
I just got so frustrated. I would just want to
Yeah.
belt them on the head and
Yeah.
say, "What is it about this you don't get? I mean,
It's
look,
right
it's
there.
obvious."
Yeah.
So I was a terrible math teacher.
Didn't you find a teacher like hiding in a closet?
Oh, this poor girl. She was straight out of college. And she was teaching religious education, which was compulsory back in the 70s. And she was a frail little thing. And one day I'm upstairs teaching a class, and there's just mayhem coming from below. And I looked out the window, and there are books landing on the courtyard.
What?
And so I told the class, "Look, I'm going to have to leave you." And I went down. It's bedlam, and she had locked herself in the closet.
No.
And she
Wow.
left that afternoon and never came back.
Wow.
Wow.
I don't know what happened to her, but and then I got a call to a church in Belfast, which is where Rosemary grew up,
Okay.
and where her family were. And I was there for 17 years, a solo pastor, so I did everything.
Wow.
You name it, and I did it.
Yeah.
And I was the only paid member on the church roll.
Yeah.
Wow.
No secretary. But you kind of get thrown into the middle of things.
Yeah.
I mean, seminary can't prepare you for some things.
Yeah.
So the first session meeting,
Okay.
I'd never been to a session
Yeah.
meeting. I don't know what.
Because you're a Baptist. Baptists don't do session meetings.
Right, I didn't.
Yeah.
There were 4 elders, 3 of whom were retired, and I was 26.
Wow.
And one of the elders was the finance guy for the city council. He was the head of finance. So he was in committees all day long.
Yep.
And he saw that I was obviously struggling. So he said, let's have lunch tomorrow. And I said, oh, sure.
Yeah.
Thinking, okay, this would be nice. He said, look, that was a mess. He said, I've written down here 4 rules that'll help you keep a committee going properly.
Right.
So there were no Robert's Rules of Order. That's an American thing. I don't know of a single committee in Britain that follows that.
Interesting.
But obviously there were certain rules about motions and so on.
Yeah.
You know, when there's only 4 elders, there's really no agenda.
Yeah.
You know, he's got something to say, and then he's fidgeting the whole session meeting because he's got something he wants to bring up at the end.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that he's cross about.
That's right.
And I remember Mr. Kelly, sweet Mr. Kelly, saying at the he'd been fidgeting the whole meeting, and he said, "You know, you got to say something about these women and their skirts are too short." No, I'm not saying anything about that.
I'm not wading into those waters at all. Yeah.
So I'll give you the abbreviated version because my wife tells me I talk too much.
Mine too.
In the early 90s, 2 things happened. One, I met Ligon Duncan. Mm-hmm. He was doing a PhD in Edinburgh. He came over to do a wedding, or he came over for a wedding, and I met him. And then Sinclair Ferguson, whom I had known since the mid-70s, known not as well, obviously, as I know now, but there was no texting or cell phone, so communication was by letter.
Yeah.
You know, so we didn't communicate that often, but I did know him, and he was in my house I'd asked him to come and do like a mini conference on something, and he was staying in my house, and I mentioned to him something from Calvin's expositions on Job that was troubling me a little, and he said, "You know, you should do a PhD on that." And I thought, no, I just want you to give me the answer.
Yeah, what's the answer? That's all.
That's right.
So I ended up doing a PhD,
Yeah.
And that got me back in touch with academia. So Ligon asked me to come and teach at the seminary. It's a little more complicated, but that would take 3 hours.
Yeah.
So in 1996, we emigrated. I thought I was coming for 5 years. That was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I taught. I was the chaplain for the seminary. I was a seminary chaplain, which meant I preached
chapel service
once a week or twice a week, whatever it was, and taught systematic theology. And then in about 3 years after I got there, Ligon asked me to be the evening preacher at First Pres, which was probably some of the best times of my life. So for 12 or 13 years, maybe 14 years, it was Ligon in the morning and me at night.
It was so wonderful. As somebody who was just in the pew, had no idea I was ever going to end up in ministry, it was, for your soul, it was kind of like having steak and lobster, you know, every day.
Was I the steak or the lobster?
Which depends on which you want to be. Are you a seafood fan or a beef fan, you know?
It was very special. I had a very, very close and personal relationship with Ligon Duncan, who's my boss now. And then in 2011, Sinclair Ferguson asked me to become the evening preacher here, and it would be a full-time job, which I eventually agreed to do. And for 2 years, I was with Sinclair here, teaching in Atlanta for RTS.
Yeah.
And Atlanta just got too much. So now I'm a Chancellor's professor, which means I teach 3 courses a year, mostly in Charlotte, which is an hour and 20 minutes away. I also am a teaching fellow for Ligonier Ministries, met R.C. Sproul in the early 2000s, 2002 maybe. And for some reason, I mean, he taught systematics at Jackson, so we had something in common. And that's about all we had in common.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he liked me.
Yeah.
And he asked me, 2000 and... It was after I came here. I think it was 2012 or 2013. I was asked to become a teaching fellow, which is a lot of fun. So I actually do a little more now that I've retired. But I was in ministry from 78 until 2023. So
Yeah, you're still in ministry.
So 45 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just as busy now, it seems like, than were you with reading and writing and teaching. And
I like how you tell the story that Sinclair just invited you to be the evening preacher. Here's how I remember it. I went to seminary in Jackson from 06 to 08, where you were forced to deal with me as a systematic student.
You sat in the front row.
Yeah. I may have asked a question or two.
Oh, my goodness. I remember a girl, I was with her parents this weekend, and she would roll her eyes, and Josh is asking another question.
I mean, I'd only been Reformed for about 3 or 4 years, and everything was blowing my mind that Derek said. I was like, wait, I don't understand this. Wait, does that mean... Anyway, so he had to endure me for 2 years, and then I decided to go back to seminary. I take a year to evaluate whether or not I want to go back to seminary. I decide I want to go back to seminary. The thing I'm looking forward to most about going back to seminary is I get to have Dr. Derek Thomas as my professor again. I tell everybody I'm coming back. 2 weeks later, Derek announces he's leaving. So
I wonder if there's any correlation in his decision-making process to the fact that you were coming back. No, that couldn't be, right?
Well, so there's his side, which is Sinclair just happened to ask, but I think we all know.
There's also like, hey, Sinclair,
would you mind
possibly have
asking
something
me?
that I could, anything, evening, yeah, I'm there.
What, janitor? No, I'm there. Keep me away.
Gotta
from
get away from the
supplies.
students.
Yeah.
No.
Ask me questions.
Oh, man. So you were, was it 2 years that you and Dr. Ferguson were together?
Yeah,
and then when he
they
retired,
were.
you become...
They were very special. And, there was no guarantee. I mean, Sinclair would say stuff like, when I retire, you'll become the senior minister. But, I mean, we're Presbyterians. We're
Right.
He's not a bishop. He couldn't appoint me. So, obviously, there was a vacancy declared and a search committee formed. And I spent the summer wondering what I was going to do if I wasn't.
Right.
And I may have stayed on, and maybe the next senior minister wouldn't want me on staff. So, but anyway, Randy Folks, I think, was the chair of that search committee, and Dr. Folks called me one day and said, that I was their pick, and spent from 2013, 10 years to 2023, 11 years, I guess. And I was a math major, so
That's right. You can do those high-level calculations in your head. Yeah. We're all over struggling.
When two numbers
Carrying
end
the
with
one.
the same number.
Yeah.
11 years as senior minister, and it was like the icing on a cake. Loved it. Miss being around. I don't miss some of it.
Sure.
So I tell people I get to do the things I like to do now, and I get to not to do the things that I really don't miss at all.
Yeah.
There you go.
And was just amazed by the providence that the church called Neil Stewart, Dr. Stewart, who I'd known since Belfast. He was a member of my church in Belfast.
Wow.
I married them. I preached his ordination service. I preached his installation service at his most recent church in Greensboro.
Yeah.
In North Carolina, and so I've known him for a very long time.
Yeah.
35 years maybe.
Wow.
And you couldn't have written that story.
No.
You know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are our penultimate summer lecture speaker.
That's right.
For people who don't know what penultimate means, it means next to last.
You could have just said next to last for my sake. Come on, man. Help me out here. No,
I'm trying to bring up the level of education. So you are speaking to us about Bunyan. Don't want you to maybe rob anything that you're going to tell us at the actual lecture, but could you give us maybe a preview of Bunyan?
Well, Bunyan and Calvin have been the two people that I've been most preoccupied with throughout my life, and did my PhD in Calvin. But Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress, up until, say, the beginning of the 20th century, was the most published book in the English language other than the Bible. Well, obviously that's no longer the case, but and sadly, when I do a roll call in a seminary class, how many of you have read Pilgrim's Progress? I mean, 2-3 people will put their hands up.
Wow.
Which is shocking, really, because it's one of the classics, not just of religious literature, but English literature of the 17th century. So what I'm going to do is walk through Pilgrim's Progress on Sunday with some slides.
Yeah.
Could help people from falling asleep.
Yeah.
And tell Bunyan's story sort of in the background as we're moving along. And I thought that might be helpful for folk since you're doing this biographical series over the summer.
Right.
And nobody had picked Bunyan, so I went for it.
Yeah.
I think that Peter will probably ask you when you come to the pearly gates, have you read Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress? Why take the chance?
There you go.
Yeah. Do you believe in Jesus? Yes. Works of supererogation. Have you also read Pilgrim's Progress? Yes.
And then, it's available in all kinds of forms, from children's editions to editions with pictures and the sort of Oxford University Press edition with footnotes.
Yeah. There was an illustrated version of it that came out probably about 10 years ago now, maybe even like 12 or 13 years ago, that was really well done, that my whole family really enjoyed. And the kids were very young when we read through it. And I'm just realizing, like, my youngest, Caleb, who's 9, either he wasn't alive or he was a baby, like a newborn when we went through it. He probably hasn't gone through it.
So it's time to dust that off. And
Yeah.
So at some point, it was after I became senior minister, I did a series on Wednesday evenings on Pilgrim's Progress. I don't remember how many sessions, but there were a lot of them. I'm guessing there were 25 of them. Maybe it was like half a year.
Yeah.
Those are still in the church library. If people are interested in finding those,
and there were like 350 people there. I mean, it was packed.
It was packed. Yeah. I remember that. There were people out in the atrium.
Yeah.
I mean, it was.
Oh wow.
So I got people to read a certain section each week, and then I would talk about it, and it was fairly laid back.
Yeah. And you did a Pilgrim's Progress kind of overview or teaching for Ligonier as well, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. And I meet people all the time. When I do Ligonier events, I meet people all the time, and they say, "Oh, you've been in our church," and I said, "I've never been in your church."
Yeah.
But they're talking about the cassette tapes.
Yeah, the cassette tapes that we all rent.
That's right.
Send back to Blockbuster.
So, do you remember Blockbuster?
It was one of my high school jobs. Was Blockbuster. Please
That
be
feels-
kind and rewind.
That feels appropriate somehow.
It does.
Josh
That-
Squires in high school.
Yeah, let me go shelve these.
There was one in Clinton when I first came to Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
And I walked in and I thought, there's nothing in here that I want.
That's what everybody
That's on
thought.
brand. That's actually on brand.
And that's why they're no longer.
Yeah. So we've been doing this kind of fun question with our speakers. If you could have any author, non-inspired, write a book on any topic, what would it be and why?
Yeah, I mean, there are multiple ways of answering this, and one could be really nerdy. But what popped into my head was 10 years ago, roughly, there was a man in town here, the preacher at Shandon Baptist, called Dick Lincoln, who's now retired and lives in Greenville. And Dick and I didn't have a whole lot in common, but we both loved classical music, and we loved to sort of meet and talk. And he was a kind of a polymath, and he was a fisherman and made his own flies and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And
Right.
he had all kinds of interests that I did not have. But in the basement of Shandon Baptist, literally in the basement, he had thousands of LPs, all shelved in alphabetical order. And he had a little, like a pink slip wedged, and he said, well, this is where I am now, because he was playing them in order.
Wow.
So you'd pull out the next one and put it on, and then move the thing along. And
Wow.
And but I asked him over lunch one day, tell me the 5 most important presidents in the history of the United States. I mean, as an immigrant,
Yeah.
a legal immigrant,
Yeah.
I have my papers.
That's right.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about people coming.
I became a citizen.
Yeah.
So I don't want any nice people on the
Nope,
door.
you don't want
really.
that.
I asked him, tell me the 5 most important presidents in American history and tell me why. Mm-hmm. And without a pause, he named 5 and gave reasons why these 5. And they weren't necessarily the 5 that you might have picked.
Interesting.
Okay.
And I can't remember what the 5 were.
Okay.
I sort of wish I had recorded it.
Yeah.
I'd written it down.
Yeah. So Dick Lincoln on the most important presidents.
That's what we need.
in
And it
U.S.
was
history.
fascinating. First of all, it was fascinating that he had the answer in his head.
ready to go. Yeah.
Right, he didn't even pause. It was like a brilliant. And he talked for like 20 minutes.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, this needs to be a book.
Yeah. I mean, students today, you ask them for the 5 most important presidents, and it would be somewhat of a miracle if they could list 5
If they
presidents.
could come up with 5, yeah.
You know, that's
Trump,
Trump.
Joe Biden.
Joe. That is there anything else?
Well,
No.
Exhausted.
We better,
Mind.
we better, we
Yeah,
better
we'll move
stop
on.
there.
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the last we saw of the Joshes.
that's right. Well, one last question for you, Derek. We've really enjoyed this. Thank you so
Yes.
much for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Seriously.
But we've been asking our lecture speakers all summer, is there anything, any issue or problem maybe you see on the horizon, an issue that the church is facing? That could be sort of locally or big C church throughout the world. That is something the church needs to be preparing for. And then how would you recommend we prepare for whatever that issue might be?
Yeah, a couple of things sort of come to mind. The first thing is just the sheer wokeism that we now currently live in. And although with a change of president, some of that emphasis has deteriorated a little, has gone away a little, the underlying cause of it has not gone away. And and one can easily imagine that the next president could return the whole thing. But it's not just the politics. I mean, politics goes wherever the wind blows, and so politicians may decide to go in a different direction. But our culture and our universities and colleges are so deeply embedded in what are the results of the Enlightenment and postmodernity and the loss of truth, of true truth, as Schaeffer used to say. That it's hard to see that changing overnight without some massive revival of some kind. And I don't mean political revival. I mean, because political revivals last for 4 years.
Right.
Or 8 at most.
Right.
But I mean a religious revival.
Yes.
Like the Great Awakening. So, and it affects everything, and it affects the church, because I think the church is now under attack, and probably heading for a period where it is no longer closeted by state laws, but could very well face, real persecution. And there have been periods in church history, of course, where there have been persecutions, and we've gotten used to thinking that we have a right to be heard and to be listened to and to be coddled, and so and we live in the South, and I've lived in the Bible Belt all of my life, because Belfast was a bit of a Bible Belt, and Jackson and Columbia are a bit of a Bible Belt still. So you have kind of the support of the community, because everybody kind of thinks they're Christian. But all of that could change. But if you lived in Denver, you lived in Seattle, or you lived in California or New England, it's very different.
Right.
Very, very different. So some of the social issues where church and state sort of cross, and gender issues and LGBTQ plus issues, and gay marriage, and all of those things, and if the church stays the course on those moral issues, then it's going to be tough. For sure. I think the second thing for me is that we tend to see the church from the perspective of North America.
Sure.
I hear preachers saying all kinds of things about, the state of the church, but they're talking about North America. Or Europe.
Western Europe.
Right? They're not talking about. Apparently there's a massive revival going on in Indonesia. Right? Ligon, our friend who goes there often, will tell you just how it's the Islamic capital of the world, but yet there's this massive revival. That's taking place. Places in Central Africa.
I was going to say Africa's good.
And Brazil. Goodness. So we tend to be myopic. That's my word for today.
Nice.
We tend to be short-sighted. A lot of Americans don't travel a lot. They don't have passports. They make one trip to Europe and back and so on. But
it seems very targeted right now.
No, but I do think that's something that when we talk about the church, we're generally speaking thinking of the North American church.
Right.
But there's a whole lot of church elsewhere.
That's right.
And I think on Sunday morning, especially in the pastoral prayer, I want to think about, the New Zealanders met yesterday because it's Monday morning.
Okay.
The time zone thing.
Yeah.
And the Californians are still in bed.
Right.
They haven't got up yet. So all over the world, Christians are meeting to worship, and I like to think about that, not just this city or this state or this country, but the global church.
Yes, it reminds me. It's something I feel like I've heard you talk about many times. But Jesus and Peter, and when he at Caesarea Philippi, and Peter makes his confession, and Jesus says, "I'll build my church, and the gates of hell will not overcome it." And there's just that. There's that one. On the one sense, there's that scary part where it's like there's going to be some proximity to the gates of hell. Like, why are you building it right there? And yet, there's the promise.
Yeah.
It's that scene, where Frodo and Sam and Gollum are outside the gates of Mordor,
Right.
and it was horrible CGI work. It would be so much better now, I think. But but the all those orcs.
Yeah.
I mean, millions of them behind the gates because the camera sort of goes up and sees. And I remember thinking, oh, that's CGI thing. Is it CGI, Calvin?
Yeah.
CGI.
Yeah.
It would be so much better now, I think.
Yeah.
But there they are. I mean, outside the gates, and there's the gates of hell right there. And that's where he builds his church.
Yeah.
Not in the Shire,
Right.
but
Far
right
away.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it probably, Sam and Frodo felt small and insignificant
So,
compared.
so the listeners who don't know Lord of the Rings, I'd think, what are they talking about?
What? Yeah. You need to
You
go.
can't be a Christian and not like Lord of the Rings, right?
I think that's the second question.
Peter's going to ask about
Pilgrim's
Bunyan.
Progress.
Have you read Pilgrim's Progress? Have you watched
Red?
Should we go red?
Red if you want to be S tier.
I was in high school.
Saint. S for saint.
I was in high school. I was in lower sixth, which means I was 11th grade.
Okay.
And
That doesn't make any sense to me.
everybody,
Well, you.
everybody was reading Lord of the Rings. And I went to the bookstore. There was only one bookstore in town.
Yeah.
I said, have you got a copy of Lord of the Rings? And they said, I have one left. It was a paperback version.
Yeah.
It was really thick.
Yeah.
So I bought it, and I would make sandwiches. It was summertime.
Yeah.
I would make some sandwiches and go up to one of the fields up on the mountain with my sheepdog, and I would just sit there and read.
Wow.
And all day long.
That sounds idyllic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Derek, thank you so much for
Next
taking
time
the
I'll
time.
bring a blazer.
Yeah. Well, and let's make sure there's a next time.
Absolutely.
This
We've
was
gotta have you
phenomenal.
Got to have you back.
And kind of a full circle moment for me because the very first podcast that I ever recorded was with you, a little bitty recorder in the office right down there. The audio was terrible. The editing was terrible because I did it.
And then we hired Calvin.
And everything's been beautiful and wonderful ever since.
We're in the major leagues now.
He never did these 30-second little clips of me.
Yeah.
I see Neil all the time.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
these
little
dramatic poses.
Have you ever seen a 30-second
And I
clip of
think
me when I preach? No.
You've never said a
No.
phrase in 30 seconds, though.
Yeah, viewed. Yeah.
It was a good hire.
Yeah, sure. Phenomenal. Well, again, thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out with us and for listening to this. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this with others so that people can see this. You can follow us on Instagram at One Another Podcast, and you can email us at oneanother@firstprescolumbia.org. Thank you so much for listening. For Fleming and for Dr. Thomas, I'm Josh Squires. We'll see you next time, and until then, God bless.